Greetings, YouTube. The doctor is in. Dr. Urias Papers here, coming at you with another commentary for Marvel Contest of Champions. And we have thousands, lest I say tens of thousands of bans that have happened. Kabam announced this yesterday. We are going to talk about what is going on, what can you do, what is happening, and potential triggers for all of these bans and more. So stay tuned and don't go away. All right, before we begin, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you have any questions or comments, please leave a question or comment. And don't forget to hit that notification bell. All right, so as you can see, my account is just fine. I can click through it. Everything is good. We are perfectly fine. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying I am an Apple user. Therefore, I use iOS with this game. I don't use any third-party software, nothing. The game gets played only on my phone, and that is it. I do use a program called Reflector that reflects my phone onto my computer, but that has no interaction with Marvel Contest of Champions or anything in the iOS of the phone. It simply is the screen sharing, screen mirroring portion of the phone. So I say all those things for several reasons, because there is probably some third-party software that people are using and they are not aware that they're using it, but it is something that is interacting with Kabam's server and it is not authorized. So iOS is an authorized client service. The client service is like software that will communicate with Kabam's servers, allowing you to download data from their servers onto your device and to play this game. So the client server will bring data in, and the client server will send data out, because the game sits on a server at Kabam's headquarters or wherever server farm they've got. So that, you've got to understand that and what's going on. All right, so let's look at the announcement here. And I'm going to make this a little bit bigger because it is tiny small. Let's make it 200. There we go. Okay, because that allows me to read it on the screen here. So today we opened up a new front in the war against cheaters. For the first time, we have developed new technology that allows us to identify players using a client that was not distributed by one of our legitimate partners or by Kabam. So again, client, they mean client service. And that is the program that allows your device to communicate with their server so you can play the game. In doing so, we found and banned over 10,000 accounts that have been using modified or otherwise illegitimate versions of our client to play the game. So Google Play and iOS. So it's iOS for the iPhone and the various kinds of iPhones, and it's iOS for the iPad, and then it's Google Play, and that is essentially it. So if you're using something other than those, or any kind of software that is not authorized by Kabam to communicate with their server, you probably got banned. Okay, so that was 10,000. We're probably using servers that were not client services that were not authorized, and they were probably modified in some way that allowed somebody to hack into the game. So another couple thousand, couple meaning 2,000, but probably more, accounts have received warnings for potential infractions, and if you have received this warning, know that your account will have more scrutiny on it moving forward. If you are in fact using an illegitimate client, now is the time to stop. And this like temporary warning is probably the 7-day ban. that people are getting. So we believe this action will result in mass improvement to an overall anti-cheat ecosystem, as the vast majority of players caught and banned for cheating so far this year failed this test. Moving forward, all summoners should be aware that using a client service, I'm going to keep putting that word behind that, other than the one distributed by us or our partners, puts your account at risk of a permanent ban. So you need to be looking at what you're doing with the game and how you access the game. That is what you need to be asking. That is the question to ask. How are you accessing this game? How is your device communicating with the Kabam server that hosts MCOC? And like I said, I use an Apple phone. I think I've got an iPhone 13, and I use iOS, and that's it. And iOS on an Apple 13 is allowed. That is one of, and when they say by one of our legitimate partners, that's a legitimate partner. So unfortunately, there are a lot of people in a lot of countries. So, and I'm in the United States as well. So there really aren't any limits here. So if you got banned and you're in the United States, it's because you're doing something wrong. If you are not in the United States, a lot of countries, the access is a little wonky, and some people are using different things to get access to the game, and that is probably why they got banned. Now let's take a look at an example of this. It says here, this is a Sith Lord 1. MCOC doesn't work in my country, so I use a VPN, okay? This is obviously somebody who's not in the States, because you wouldn't have to use a VPN in the States. If I could get my account back, I would be thrilled, but I know Kabam, they won't allow it. So English is not this person's first language either. Been a pleasure, y'all. So I don't know why they picked that word. And this is what the temporary suspension looks like. And so when we get down here and it says another couple thousand have received a warning, this is your warning right here. This 7-day ban is your warning. Now this person said they use a VPN, so that changes their interaction with the Kabam server. So their phone or their device, whatever their device is not necessarily connecting in an authorized manner with the Kabam server. So they got banned. I think Rich the Man said something, and he knows more about computer stuff than I do, but he said something about this isn't a coincidence that this happened now. Since they also use the PC version, most likely as interaction with people's devices to figure out who was cheating and who was not cheating. So, okay. Potential triggers to this. We know VPN is one of them. So this is a good thread right here from Mike My Too Awesome. And it says, a lot of people got banned even though they never cheated. Don't be mean to others who are trying to voice their frustration. I'm here to list a few potential triggers. Downloaded Google Play via an APK. An APK is it's a booster. Android, I can't, it's Android something, but it's something you download on your Android phone that allows you to download the game, because there are Android phones or Google phones in certain countries that can't download the game, so they add this pack, this software for Androids into their phone to download the game. So it says, unfortunately for Chinese players or players who use Chinese phones like Huawei or Xiaomi, Google, I hope I said that right, Google Play doesn't come by default. So that's, Google Play is like iOS. Google Play is the software that's authorized. That's an authorized piece of software, authorized with Kabam, to communicate with the Kabam server. So those phones don't come with the Google Play, so they have to use something else to communicate, and that something else is not authorized. So Google is blocked in China. They have to download Google Play via an APK in order to get Western apps. So again, the whatever Kabam did detected that these folks were using a unauthorized version of Google Play that was put on their phones by APK. So something in that code is different, and they got their ban. So use a phone mover app when switching to a new phone. Android. See, again, there's a theme here with non-iPhone users, non-Apple products. So when switching to a new phone, Android users would use an app to transfer everything, apps and data, over from the old phone to a new phone. I'm not sure. That doesn't necessarily communicate. I guess it does. So, our data is stored on this server over at Kabam. Your data is, some of it's stored on your phone, some of it is not. And it's what allows them to get into your account and change things. So, if you got this Android phone and use this Mover app, the app then goes and communicates with the Kabam server and asks it to get the information and move it over, and that is not authorized by terms of service. Number 3, all use a VPN. The game doesn't work everywhere in the world. If you live or travel to somewhere the game is not supported, you have to use a VPN to run it. And again, iPhones are pretty much universally accepted in almost all countries, whereas Google phones are not. Google is banned in some countries like China, and so you may have to use a VPN. So that's a virtual network, and that virtual network then communicates with the Kabam server, and that is not authorized. Not authorized by the terms of service. So all 3 points apply to me, unfortunately. Lastly, and very likely, this anti-cheat system is full of bugs. It's probably an AI, in my opinion. I think it's they bought some kind of AI service, they meaning Kabam, and then they let it loose, and it went through and found it. They asked one question: is the way that the person or the device is communicating with our server authorized by our terms of service? And if the answer is no, you got banned. So I work in tech myself and know for a fact that most companies run offshore teams to cut costs. A company of Kabam size is no doubt running offshore teams. While they are cheap, offshore teams are mostly underskilled. Well, if it's an AI program, then it's no one. It's just AI. I don't trust them to release solid features or products. And then there's a whole bunch of people that have chimed in on this thread. But if we go back just to the thread itself, just to general discussion, you can see here. I wonder if Kabam use AI. Your boy's a criminal. I got a 29-day ban. Chaos in the forums due to ban. Forbidden without evidence. Suspension for no reason. Ban. I was suspended. Temporary, again, ban. Suspended. Okay, I will lose my account permanently. Did you get banned? Ban. All, keeps just going on and on and on. Me baneron la siguiente. I probably butchered that. Account suspension. So there's all kinds of people. I've looked through a bunch of these, and it is pretty obvious that most of them come from people who English is not their first language, meaning they're from a foreign country, and they probably do not have 100% access to MCOC. Thus, they are going to be using some kind of third-party program, a client service that is not authorized by the terms of service. So that doesn't mean a cheat program. It doesn't mean a mod program. That means the way that you are communicating. You need to ask yourself, how do I play this game? Now, for me, it's pretty easy. I have an iPhone. It has iOS. It has Game Center, which iOS Game Center is a authorized client server according to the terms of service with Kabam that allows me to play MCOC. But if you ask the same question and you say, I have a Android and in my country Google Play is not allowed, so I use a VPN or I used an APK to download a version of Google Play that isn't necessarily the authorized version, well, guess what? You're going to get banned. That's just the way it is. So you're going to have to figure this out, or you're going to have to put a ticket in. You're going to have to contact Kabam, and they're going to have to figure this out. Now, if it was an AI program, the AI program's not going to care. It's just going to go. So you're going to have to now go back, and they're going to have to tease each one of these out one at a time, and maybe fix it, maybe not. It looks like they wanted to just go ahead and whack-a-mole everyone and then put the pieces back together after the fact. And that is, unfortunately, the way a lot of corporations do things these days. To be honest, 12,000 accounts is nothing compared to, on average, there are 6 to 8 million people that log into this game at any month. So they have millions of accounts for this game. And if it's 12,000 people, I would say that out of 12,000 people, 10,000 of those don't spend any money on this game. Kabam doesn't care. They could care less. So they are in it for money. This is, if you're a free-to-play player, good on you. I hope you got a YouTube channel, because that means that you're promoting their game. But if you don't have a YouTube channel and you're just playing the game for free just because it's fun, Kabam doesn't make any money off of that. Unless you happen to be, telling your friends and family and others word of mouth about the game. That's it. Other than that, you're not making them any money. And Kabam is a business at the end of the day. And 12,000 people being removed from the game, even if it's 20 or 30,000 people. If they've got 7 million people per month playing the game, that doesn't matter. All right, that is what I have for everybody today. I appreciate everybody tuning in, and I will catch everybody